perfect. You're eating your lunch and I'm going to make some eggs. Hi, friends. We're here today. We're sharing life. I'm on the phone with my friend. Should I release your name?
Oh, no, that's all right.
We'll just keep it quiet. I'm on the phone with my friend. We're talking about my divorce from my narcissistic alcoholic ex that I am going through right now, and me standing up for myself. And she just said, how did court go yesterday? So I was like, this is the perfect time to discuss how court goes in the real world right now. Not the real world, in the virtual reality that we are currently living in that is around us. So I go to court. I told you the day before I got a subpoena for my psychological evaluation, right?
Yeah.
And that he literally, because I believe in reincarnation, because I have established that I am a reincarnated angel, starseed here to assist in the ascension of Earth to 5D by literally living this traumatic experience and sharing it with everyone. He's like, I can't believe you would say I abused you and you don't believe in the Bible anymore, and I don't think you should, like, I'm questioning your sanity to be around our kids. However, in the same breath, he's like, you've got them tonight for school, right? And I'm like, yeah, can you check Thursday and Saturday and see if it's good? No problem. Okay, so you're going to turn right around and hand the children over to me that you're battling me for custody because you're worried about my mental state. So is it my current mental state or the future mental state that you're worried about? Because currently you don't seem to have a problem with me being with our children. It's just in writing and what you're presenting to everyone else that I'm sorry, I'm moving this camera, that you have a problem with me being with our children and claiming that you question my sanity and whether the children are safe with me. And then we're on the phone. I digress. Then we're on the phone this morning in the car on the way to school because I actually call him so the girls can say good morning. And I had the dog with me, and I hook him up with his leash in the back of the truck when the girls are in there so he doesn't jump on him while we're driving. And my 4-year-old tells him that Ghost is tied up in the trunk. Mommy's got him tied up tight. And I said, well, he's on he's on a short leash so he doesn't jump on you. I'm prophetic as well. And he says, I'm sure Mommy wouldn't tie Ghost up too tight. I'm sure she wouldn't hurt him. And I flat out said, okay, so you're consciously acknowledging that you know I wouldn't hurt a dog, but you think our children are not safe with me?
Yeah.
I was like, so if Daddy knows that Mommy wouldn't hurt the dog, then he should know Mommy would never do anything to hurt Addie and Evie, right? And my 4-year-old goes, of course not, we're your children. And I was like, see, even she gets it. And then I suggested that instead of using a real estate broker to sell our house, because he's so worried about money, that we look into Redfin or listing directly ourselves to save the money. And he's like, well, we're not going to have to sell it as is. I'm going to fix it. What I wanted to say is I've been hearing, I'm going to fix it for 11 years. But he's like, and I'm like, he's like, can you respond to my email? And I was like, can you just look at Redfin? Like, I can't even have, that was it. I'm like, can we talk about possibly using Redfin to sell the house to save us money on brokerage commissions? And I immediately am a problem. You're worried about money. I'm trying to save you fucking money. Like, what is the issue? Why can't you even be open to one suggestion from me? And that's been our entire marriage. Everything that comes out of my mouth is questioned. Yes, everything. Mm-hmm. And okay, so we're in court yesterday. This is a scheduling hearing for all of our divorce hearings. So he has filed for something called pendentum lite, which is like a interim hearing for, I need to save those eggshells, for there's some sort of collagen powder I can make out of eggshells that I'm looking into. For like emergency, like financial, figuring out the financial stuff, figuring out the custody stuff. We're working with a child psychologist to work on the custody stuff. However, we were supposed to have a meeting with the psychologist yesterday. I know, baby, I fed you. What else can I give you? You just feel what I'm talking about. My spiritual protector kitty. So, shit, I lost my train of thought. I do that. Oh, so we're supposed to have a meeting yesterday afternoon as well after this with the child psychologist, which I find out that basically everybody else discussed that Brian was going to require a psychiatric evaluation in order to talk about custody, in which I said, that's fine, I'm happy to submit to one, but I want him to have one too. And so, which they're doing, but they all decided that there was no point in us sitting down and having this meeting, and canceled it. And I was the last one to know, because Brian said, I'm going to want this. We're not, what are we going to accomplish? Everybody else said, what are we going to accomplish? Nobody actually took into consideration that I was the one that requested the meeting to begin with. And I actually had something to discuss. And then I talked to my attorney afterwards too. And he was like, well, we weren't going to accomplish it. And like, what were we going to accomplish? And I was like, you didn't even bother to ask me, Greg. I said, I'm the one that asked for the meeting in the first place. And he's like, well, I thought they did. And I said, no, I told Brian I want all of us to sit down at the same table instead of this backroom bullshit. Like, everybody sit down, look each other in the face, and let's say, what the hell are we trying to accomplish here? And and so his attorney requested it. And then my attorney goes, oh, I didn't even know that you asked for it. And, well, I decided we weren't going to accomplish anything. I was like, but that's the point. You didn't even ask me. Do you want to talk to them? Do you have anything you want to talk to them about? This has been this whole process with having my children taken away from me when I have been seeking mental health assistance for the last 3 years, during which I but ultimately realized that I'm repeating a toxic cycle of narcissistic abuse in all of my relationships as a result of growing up under the care of a narcissistic alcoholic who was my mother. I married her. I asked for change over and over and over and over again and was told, I love you, I'll work on it, and never got that. What is that? The definition of fucking insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And so when I finally dove into a deep depression and functional alcoholism, because I literally couldn't make my marriage work because I was being told one thing and something different was being done with me, and I was like, couldn't reconcile leaving. I was so set on I was the problem and I was going to try to fix it, but then I just fell right into, again, the dysfunction that we're normalizing. Someone who's not taking care of themselves, someone who is, instead of dealing with all their feelings and making change in their life to change the unhappy situation, is diving into alcoholism and substance abuse. But I was the one actually trying to get help for it, and he wasn't at all. He refused therapy. He refused treatment for substance abuse, and I covered for him. And we've discussed this before. Let's be honest. Everybody knows I married the group alcoholic, and there are, I would venture to say, thousands of pictures and videos to support that evidence. Mm-hmm. Can we discuss how many David Hasselhoff cheeseburger toilet moments Varg has had? Am I wrong? Am I lying?
Wait, I'm not sure I get that reference. I have to look that up.
Do you not remember the video of David Hasselhoff that went viral where he was so fucking drunk that he was like eating a cheeseburger off the bathroom floor?
No, I don't think I've seen that.
Oh, we'll look it up after we talk and you'll understand. As soon as you see it, let's just say, think Varg flipping over the handlebars and covered in blood in the bathroom after I told him not to ride his bike, and everybody's like, Liz, he's hurt, you gotta fix it. And I was like, not my problem anymore. I tried to prevent this from happening, and you said, don't tell me what to fucking do. And you did what you wanted to do, and here we are. So I'm done cleaning up everybody's messes. I'm done covering for you. I'm done pretending like I didn't live through a decade of covering up for your alcoholism, your bad behavior, and not taking care of yourself, taking care of everyone that didn't take care of themselves to the point where I stopped taking care of myself, and then became someone that was not acceptable to him because I wasn't doing all the things that he wanted me to do, and I was no longer his arm candy because I was an overweight, unhealthy alcoholic taking care of 2 small children, a man-child, and my disabled mother who had a stroke because she couldn't take care of herself. Like, what the fuck do you think is going to happen? Right?
Yeah.
I turned into everything about my abusers. That's what happens. You turn into a mirror. And he still... And now, so I leave the house because I'm living with my toxic abuser, living off my IRA because I was a stay-at-home mom. No one, I mean, you and girlfriends who have been checking on me and I'm telling you I'm okay, or checking on me and know I'm okay. But like the other people immediately in our life, everybody is supporting him. Everybody is normalizing the dysfunction, and they cannot believe that I left the house and left my children there with him. Well, guess what? The kids are not going to be okay if mom's dead because she drove into a fucking tree. Like, everyone's worried about the children and worried about the money. And the reason right now that everybody is supporting him and thinks he's the stable one is because he has the money. When the person who actually realized that something was wrong, sought mental health assistance, through that process realized how horribly wrong it was, spiraled downward to the point where I voluntarily did a psychiatric program where they again reaffirmed, you're being psychologically, emotionally, sexually, and financially abused. And then that program wasn't acceptable to him. The psychologist that's been treating me for years, they didn't even subpoena her. They subpoenaed records from the 3-week program that I did voluntarily. And after which I told him I was not honest with them about my suicidal ideation and my literally psychic abilities that I was having because I was scared they were going to lock me up, medicate me, and take my kids away.
Right.
And then working through that in therapy and finding a safe place to open up about all of that and then open up to him about it, and he turned right around and used it against me to try to take my kids away. Right? Which I said was exactly what he was going to do. So now we're in court. He's questioning my mental stability because I'm doing all the things to heal the trauma in my life and to take care of myself and to get healthy. And he is still in a cycle where he's not taking care of himself. The food in the house is absolute garbage. There's fruit and vegetable wash. You got stuff to wash the toxins off the fruit. And then the pantry is full of fucking Rice Krispie treats and Cheerios and Pringles and chips. And like, seriously? Why are we washing the toxins off the fruit when you're going to turn around and give them Rice Krispie treats? Like, it just... And all the stuff that I tried to do to keep us healthy is like completely backtracking. And I can tell, like, it just, anyway, he's not taking care of himself. But the person who was the Disney dad, who got to come home at the end of the day and play with them until bedtime and, you know, play on the weekends and stuff, is now the person who's claiming I'm unfit to take care of them when I'm the one that's been taking care of everybody else and raising them for years. And me taking care of myself is the problem. But because I am literally living in a rental till the end, I have 1 month left. I have $1,500. I have no job because I have actually focused on healing myself for the last, I've been in this rental February, March, 3 months. And no one has been interested in having me like, hey, have you gotten to spend time with the girls? I mean, you have. But again, small subset of people that have been supporting me. But we've had some tough conversations to get to that point. And the immediate people and his family, the Christians that I've infiltrated to prove that they are complete hypocrites, completely abandoned me. No one is worried about, is she okay? Like, they're just saying, we're concerned about you. But when they say, like, nobody understands your treatment. Well, because every time you ask me about it and I start to explain it to you, you tell me to stop talking. You tell me that whatever I'm doing isn't working and that I think I know everything. Well, guess what? And then you turn around and say, I have no idea what you lived through. I can't imagine what you've lived through and I don't know how to treat it, but I think what you're doing is wrong. If you can't imagine what I've lived through and you don't know how to treat it, then why do you get to have an opinion? Why do you get to tell me what I'm doing is wrong? How do you get to tell me you didn't live through that? Yes, I fucking did. Like,
yeah, I think that Brian is pushing for you to do the psychiatric evaluation because, no, I could be wrong, but I feel like that's his way of trying to help you, not so much.
oh, no.
No, just wait.
Oh,
just wait. Maybe just consider for a second. Like in his mind, that's the only realistic, that's the only way to get treated. In his mind. Now I know that's not accurate because there are lots of alternative therapies and all that.
So, yeah, what he has said, the order specifically says that I have claimed to be a reincarnated angel, that that I'm seeing someone and have expressed interest in introducing them to my young children during this tumultuous time, and they question my decision-making ability as a result. And that, oh shit, what was the other one? That I am treating my PTSD through natural means as opposed to, because I don't believe in big pharma, which again, I have opted to stop using Zoloft, which I did with the assistance of 2 separate mental health professionals who advised me through the situation, agreed with the situation, and then the psychiatrist released me at the end of it and said, you're good, we're good off the medication. There's no point in me continuing to treat you without the medication. And let's discuss the natural means that he is so worried about. We're talking about massage. We're talking about lymphatic drainage. We're talking about acupuncture. We're talking about being outside in the sunlight. We're talking about art therapy. We are talking about dancing. We are talking about meditating. We are talking about singing. We are talking about detoxing my body and going down the route of becoming vegan to heal my organs. We're talking about literally fascial work, yoga, breath work, psilocybin treatment, and microdosing for increasing neuroplasticity, medical cannabis use, all of which are used in medical facilities, like in Baltimore, in DC, in Michigan. Like, the things that he is so worried about, Mr. I'm obsessed with the military and missed my calling and watches nothing but military stuff and about vets with PTSD treating it and all the shit that happens to them. Dude, I'm literally doing all the shit that they do in the shows you're watching to try to heal this, except more incorporating the physical side of it. And it's like, where, again, you can't have it both ways. You can't. And then I said to him, by the way, do you want me on big pharma medication? Mr. Conspiracy theorist, don't trust big pharma. COVID is a hoax. The vaccines are all poison, which is true. COVID was planned and the vaccines are poison. I was just sharing that in the camera. But he said, no, of course I don't. And then guess what? 5 days later, I get slapped with a psychiatric evaluation saying I'm worried about her concerns with big pharma and natural healing methods. And it's just, it's complete hypocrisy. And I, as a stay-at-home mom who did everything to raise everyone, who escaped a traumatic, toxic situation, have focused on healing myself, living off my savings and IRA. I'm about to be out of money with nowhere to live. And he wants to talk about custody and psychiatric evaluations. And he's not like, hey, let's talk about how we can figure out a financial situation so that you have somewhere stable to be with the kids. It's all, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I want to co-parent with you. But what are you going to do to fix this? And I don't believe who you say you are, and I think you're crazy, but let's co-parent. Like, what? Holy mixed signals. None of that matches. None of that fucking matches. And for me to say, none of this matches, they go, you're being difficult. How am I being difficult that I'm asking you to actually look at me as a human being and be concerned about my overall well-being? Not just like mental health, but like, hey, do you need something to eat? Do you need somewhere to stay? Do you need some help? Like, let's talk about what resources are available for unemployed moms who have trauma that they're trying to work on. Because I couldn't get help through the state. I wasn't being physically beaten. I put myself in to try to be eligible for like casework through the state and never got any kind of follow-up. I couldn't get free legal assistance through the state because based on the time that he had filed already a complaint against me, it was like a 30-day process to even get yourself considered as being eligible. And then it was a whole nother process to find somebody that was available, assign them to you, and get them up to speed. So it could be like 2 to 3 months. And I was like, well, I have 3 weeks to respond to this complaint. So how is this system set up at all to help mothers that are trying to get out of an abusive situation? And I'm not trying to discriminate. I'm sure there are men in the world that are also in these situations where they're, you know, married to a breadwinner and taking care of everything. I'm not saying it's just women, but this is my experience as a mother coming through this, that I'm a trauma victim, and I have gone to multiple people, teachers at my kids' school, at their daycare, to mothers at the daycare, women that were in our immediate group of friends that are no longer my friends because they have absolutely no support for me whatsoever, where they listened to me complain about what was going on for years and said, why are you putting up with this? And then when I leave, I can't believe she's leaving. And all these people are saying, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry this is happening to you. But no one, except for a handful of people that are literally my ride or dies, have been like, hey, are you good? Like, you mentioned a month ago that you were leaving like a traumatic situation and you were in, like, it was dangerous and you were fighting for the kids. How is that going? Right? Even my own family. How's your mom doing now that you put her in an assisted living facility? Is she okay? How are the kids? No one has said, how are you? What's going on with you? Because again, and I'm going to share in a whole nother, I'm going to try to maybe add a comedic twist to my sharing of my family text messages later this evening. I'm at home by myself tonight, and I think I'm going to get real high and read through those and maybe turn them into a jingle or a poem where I tell my family that I have nowhere to live and no money, and they all say, good luck on your journey. I hope you find yourself. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Where is humanity gone? So we're in court yesterday, and Brian's lawyer, my ex's lawyer, sitting right next to me, starts talking about his ADHD, and I can't handle this, and they put all these windows in at the law school, and I'm like, actually, light therapy is healing. Sunlight is good for you. It increases your vitamin D. We're actually supposed to be looking into the sun. Our rates of cancer increased when sunglasses were invented because we stopped looking at the sun. And then I was like, and ADHD is actually just an imbalance in your masculine and feminine energies. You're in some sort of role that your brain can't like reconcile with what your body knows it's supposed to be doing and what your brain is doing. And he like looked at me, and I was like, as I've mentioned, I've been going through intense therapy for ADHD. And he's just looking at me, and then he starts talking about Brian's dad and his heart attack and stuff, and and how, you know, he loved the cardiac therapy afterwards and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, yeah, because exercise is good for you. It's healing. It transmutes your negative energy into positive energy, and it increases your endorphins. It literally makes you happy. Literally. And Brian's talking about how his dad's having a hard time getting coverage for his therapy from insurance. And again, because our insurance system is completely broken and set up on purpose to keep people that could be healing and doing better from doing so.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I've lived it for 8 years with my mom. I've lived it with all my personal training clients who literally couldn't get medical testing until they went for go to physical therapy. We won't give you an MRI for something that's happening inside of your body, but go to physical therapy and see if that fixes it first before we give you the MRI. Okay, so let's go to physical therapy to try to fix something that we don't necessarily know is there yet because we're not looking at the whole picture. When maybe if we actually had an idea of what the whole picture was, we could fix it. Instead of going in this fucking circle jerk where like the only people making money are the insurance companies and the hospitals and the physical therapists.
I would argue that physical therapy is more of a healing, movement, preventive
It
thing.
is, but not when you don't know what's happening underneath. I got sent to physical therapy as a dancer for 6 months for an ankle injury, only to find out that it was a chipped ankle bone, and nothing in physical therapy did anything to help it.
Nothing's gonna help that.
Exactly. So when people have a bone issue or something internally, And the person on the outside can't see that, also because we blocked off our spiritual intuition. There's actually people who can intuitively see what's going on. I'm one of them. But our system is not set up to handle that. That's why I worked so well with people in personal training and why I knew what the fuck was going on with them, because I actually used my intuition to do it. I didn't realize that's what I was doing at the time, but now I do. And yeah, and they look at me like, okay. But I basically told everybody I'm escaping a toxic relationship, and this guy's painting me out to be the bad guy when I've been in therapy for years, working on this, healing it. He's refused to change. He's an alcoholic, and he is afraid to actually admit any of it, so he's trying to punish me and take my kids away. It's pretty much kind of what I said to people in court. But I mean, it was fun when I spoke my truth while we were in there. Like, Brian's attorney is like, we're gonna pay for, so I'm eligible, I could be eligible for like a payment release for the psychological evaluation, because they're like, it could be $3,000 to $6,000. I'm like, I don't have any money.
Yeah, they want you to pay for that?
Yeah. So they were like, you could you could qualify for, payment release if you fill out all this paperwork, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm asking him to take one too, so he's going to have to pay for his. And his attorney says, we would like Ms. Pearson to pay for Mr. Pearson's, and he will pay for hers. And if she gets a payment release, she can, get that refund at the time. But we fear that the paperwork won't get done, and this will get held up and delay the divorce. And the judge was like, number one, that doesn't make sense. How about they just each pay for their own? And I was like, thank you, Your Honor. I believe that sounds logical as well. And then he was like, I mean, there's a court order. Like, even the judge was like, there's an order. Like, there's not, like, if she doesn't do it, there's, like, she wants a divorce. He goes, I can't divorce you today. And I said, I wish you could, Your Honor. I wish you could. And he was like, it doesn't sound to me like she's interested in a delay. And I was like, correct. And then I spoke up and said, yes, Your Honor. I would just like to reassure the other side that I am actually very much looking forward to the psychiatric evaluation, because I would like to sit down and talk to yet another medical professional that will reaffirm I have been psychologically, emotionally, sexually, and financially abused for the vast majority of my life because of my mother, and I've repeated the cycle through all of my relationships, and getting into therapy helped me realize that I was repeating it in my marriage. And I am really looking forward to sitting down and talking again about what I've lived through in this relationship. And I was just like staring. I moved to a seat where I was sitting directly across from him, and I was just like deadpan staring at him the whole time I said it. Yeah. And he was like staring at his feet and like looking around and just like, 'cause you fucking know, okay? Asshole, you know you were an alcoholic for most of our marriage, that I begged you for intimacy, that I begged you for a relationship, that I gave you chance after chance after chance and unconditional love, which was my fault too, because instead of simply being myself and moving the fuck on when I should have, I changed myself to try to make you happy, and I was never good enough for you. And the truth was that you were not good enough for me because you refused to change. And I get that you're a victim of whatever happened to you as well, but you have a choice to make a change. And when your partner doesn't do that for you, when you say, this is what I need to be fulfilled in a relationship, and they're not willing to meet you there, that's a problem. And he knows it. And he's just acting like it didn't happen. And he's trying to act like we haven't been in a loveless fucking marriage for years.
Is he trying to act like that?
Yes. He's lit. It's like, have we discussed that I'm a psychic? I know what he's telling people. And he's not saying it to you because you're my friend.
Is that what he's saying, like, in court and court documents and stuff like that, too?
I mean, we haven't gotten to the point where he's able to say all of that in court documents yet. But as far as the smear campaign that he has presented to his family, to his friends that were formerly my friends, to his attorney, it's like she went down a rabbit hole and lost her shit, and I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, can we discuss the fact that when we first got serious, every time I was just like, I'm done with this, like, little boy crap, everybody's like, give him another chance, give him another chance. He's such a good guy. Except for Melissa. She was like, move the fuck on. You deserve better.
Yeah.
Even his own sister flat out said to me early in our relationship, our family is unemotional. We don't know how to talk about feelings. We don't talk about hard things. Even to this day, my father is like a robot when he hugs me. I was so awkward when I first got married. It took years to loosen up and like get comfortable. And she's like, so just give him a chance. I gave him 12 years, 11 years of chances.
Yeah.
And I opened up to her when I was pregnant with Addie about how unhappy I was and how I was starting therapy and how alcohol was going to be the death of our marriage and that I was not going to allow my children to be raised by an alcoholic because I was raised by an alcoholic. And he refused to change, and then I became an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And through that whole process, she acknowledged all of it and gave me encouragement to work on the therapy and work together and to be a team and to not let his parents come in between us. She said, you have to be a team together against my parents because they will try to come in between you. And guess exactly what they did. They've been a wedge in between us from the beginning. Anytime I've tried to defend him and say, your father doesn't speak to you with respect. They don't treat you like a man. They treat you like a child. Like, I'm disrespectful to his father. Anytime I tried to say, your mother did this in our house and it made me feel like I'm not in charge in my own house and that's not okay. Then you just have beef with my family and you don't like my mom. Always. We can't do this.
Yeah.
You know, my parents don't like it. I used to, like, you'd take his dip out every time we'd go to his parents' house. And I'm like, why can't you be yourself in front of your parents? Like, do your parents even know who you actually are? Because you don't behave in front of them the same way you do everybody else. And you wonder why we don't spend a lot of time with them. Because you don't feel free to be yourself in front of them. Until we got married and they started helping financially and shit. But it's always been that way. And he says, no, it's respect. I take it out in front of them because it's respect, because they don't like it. Again, you change who you are for your parents in front of them because they don't like it. Because they don't like who you are. Does anybody else hear this? Does anybody else hear this?
You never liked him having dip in his mouth either.
No, but did I not say it all the time?
Right.
He didn't take it out in front of me. He didn't take it out for me for respect. He didn't stop doing it for me for respect. He didn't stop doing it for himself because it's unhealthy and dangerous. But again, herein lies the point of your parents don't like who you are. You just said you do things that they don't like, so you stop doing them so that they will like you. Does anybody else fucking hear that? Am I alone? Can I get a whoop whoop? Ellen.
I gotta get back to work. I gotta go back to work.
Yeah, so it's all just a giant scam.
Yeah.
It's all just a giant scam. So this is my soapbox today about how life has been going and the hypocrisy of people and Christians and the loss of the moral high ground in America. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
I was just about to say that.
I know, that's why I read your mind. Remember, I'm psychic. All right, I love you. Enjoy the rest of your day at work healing people.
All right, thank you. Love you too.
Love you. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was fun. So, yeah, that's really a synopsis of what's going on right now. I'm in a situation where all the Christian people around me have abandoned me because I have gotten in touch with my spiritual side. Realized we're all part of the oneness. And I'm here for a mission. I'm doing it. And I make them uncomfortable because I have infiltrated their operation. I figured it out. They're all fake. They're all fake. Enjoy the rest of your day. Love you. Bye.